When Trump ran in 2016, it was like a joke. This buffoon running for president. No, never could happen. We'd forgotten the lessons of history that showed us other clowns who weren't taken seriously. And I don't mean to scare you. No, wait, maybe I do mean to scare you. If Trump returns to the White House, you can kiss these freedoms goodbye that we all take for granted. And elections, forget about it. That's over. That's done. If he gets in, I can tell you right now, he will never leave. He will never leave.
The Biden campaign bringing in actor Robert De Niro for a press conference outside of Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial yesterday. He slammed the former president as a loser and a clown bent on destroying American democracy. But he didn't just say those things at the microphones that the Biden campaign presumably was expecting. He also clashed with Trump supporters outside the courthouse.
They're traitors. I don't know. I don't even know how to deal with you, my friend. I don't even know how to deal with you. Take that stupid hat off. You're a bunch of clowns. When you see this guy get elected, you.
Okay, panel's back. We're joined by Isaac Duvere, who covers President Biden for us in great depth. Isaac, this was a very interesting decision on a number of levels. What went into it, and what has the reaction been in the White House, considering the scenes that came out of New York yesterday?
Look, the big issue that Joe Biden has had for his entire presidency, and certainly for this campaign, is how to break through. And here we are talking about what Robert De Niro said about Donald Trump in front of the courthouse yesterday.
Yeah. Although in fairness, we're not really talking about what he said at the microphones. We're more talking about words we can't even play on television.
What is going on here is that it's not just about getting through to undecided voters. There's also an enthusiasm problem that the Biden campaign knows that they have with their voters. And for whatever else might have been said about what De Niro said yesterday, it did channel a lot of that energy that like Biden-friendly or Democratic tweeters or those people want, right? Like that's it. What he's saying at the microphones is what they are all mashing into their keyboards. And there is something about having that said in such a public, forceful way by obviously an identifiable guy, obviously someone who is known to many Americans as a tough guy, even though he played a tough guy many times.
So Democratic, lefty Twitter is on fire probably over that. But what about swing voters in Wisconsin or Pennsylvania that the Biden campaign particularly, like who do they need and how does that work for them? I'm curious about that.
They need a lot of people. They need their voters, right? And you look at the polls, they need more people than they have currently if he is going to win a second term. And so, but I do think it's both those things going on, right? More people are aware that something happened yesterday in New York than would have been if De Niro hadn't been there. To Matt's point earlier in the show, if Quentin Fulks, the Biden deputy campaign manager, had done the press conference, or Michael Tyler, who is the communications director, who introduced Robert De Niro, we would not be doing a segment on Michael Tyler's comments in the microphones. We did it with De Niro.
Even if it wasn't FU,
I mean,
that would be, that's pretty good way for a campaign manager to go viral, but point taken.
He went full Goodfellas in a way. But to Isaac's point, it's not even necessarily the swing voters. That's not sort of the intention behind bringing Ed De Niro.
Yeah.
It's sort of the concern around the voters that may actually, that may not want to vote for Trump, but are between Biden and staying home, right? When you have somebody going out like this, sort of the thinking by the campaign is, if we can have somebody that speaks to sort of the passion that we want people to be feeling now, can we build that enthusiasm, and will that be the thing that moves people to sort of, actually go vote?
To kind of extend on the point I made before, celebrities bringing them into political campaigns is such a double-edged sword. I was sitting in Romney headquarters when Clint Eastwood was talking to the empty chair.
Oh, I remember that.
Right,
I was at the convention.
Yeah,
yes.
Right before Mitt Romney went on, and you remember, nobody really wanted to tell Clinton what to say. It was like, whoa.
But they were like afraid of him.
A little afraid of him, right? and look, celebrities don't have the same incentive structure that politicians or surrogates gets due, right? They are playing a completely different ball game. And if your objectives line up, God bless you, go to town. But always, not always, does it happen.
Yeah, so Jason Miller, of course, was out there. He's the Trump campaign spokesman. They rebutted this De Niro situation in basically real time. Here's what he said. Here's the argument he made.
So the Biden folks have finally done it. After months of saying the politics had nothing to do with this trial, they showed up and made a campaign event out of a Lower Manhattan trial day for President Trump. And the best that Biden can do is roll out a washed-up actor.
So, I mean, Isaac, it did kind of give the Trump team an opening on this. Did they calculate that was a risk that they were willing to take?
Because now they're going to claim that politics was part of this trial, whereas they didn't the day before yesterday. I mean, this is part of the back and forth, blah, blah, that happens on a lot of these things in a campaign. And of course, what matters in this trial right now is what the jury is about to do. And we'll see what that is, what that verdict is, and then how it's received by the American public. But at one point,
do you think the verdict's going to change anything?
Well, we'll see. Look, I think that one of the problems that you hear from a lot of concerned Democrats right now is that there have been many moments so far where we have been told, either the reporters told privately by campaign officials, or they've sort of said it publicly, that this is the turning point for the campaign. This is when the dynamics are about to shift. This is when people are going to focus in and plug in, and that's going to benefit Joe Biden. And so far, every time has come and gone. And this may be a different moment, but if so, it will be the change from all these other moments that we've had so far that we're supposed to be.
Well, and Politico put out, let's put the Politico headline up on the screen, this from yesterday about Democrats freaking out, basically. There it is. Dems in full-blown freak out over Biden. Now, this is, in some ways, a perennial situation with Democrats. Elliot, you used to work for them. You understand the, as well as Isaac. I mean, this is, we joke about it here. But this is how they put it. They say, quote, "You don't want to be that guy who's on the record saying we're doomed or the campaign's bad or Biden's making mistakes. Nobody wants to be that guy," said a Democratic operative in close touch with the White House. Granted an anonymity to speak freely, but Biden's stubbornly poor polling and the stakes of the election are creating the freakout. This isn't, oh God, Mitt Romney might become president. It's, oh my God, democracy might end. And I have to say that I feel that from sources that they are freaking out about the state of the campaign. Is this just another cycle of that, or?
I mean, Democrats in full-blown freak out over fill in the blank every day of the week, every week of the year, always. But yes, the stakes of this election are high. We have this weird confluence of people feeling like they don't want to talk about the election or tuned out from it, and that we will be living in a different country if Joe Biden is president or if Donald Trump is president. They're two different countries, they're two different futures for America. And you can choose which one you want, but it is a really important election. And it's one that people feel like you can't lose. Multiple people I've talked to, voters have said to me, I just wish we could have an election where it didn't feel like everything was on the line. We've had that in 2016, in 2020, now again in 2024. But I would say each time there's been a truth to it.
You were saying that this might be the moment that the Biden campaign sees sort of a shift. I feel like we've been hearing over the past year, time and time again, this is going to be the moment when the contrast is clear. This is going to be the moment when the contrast is clear. That's kind of part of the big concern among Democrats here. Yeah. You have one candidate in a trial, another candidate focused on governing, and so far that contrast still hasn't become clear, at least when it comes to polling for voters.
Or it's become clear and voters don't care.
Right, yes, also possible. All right.